I'm Haider Ali. I'm 16. I've been using Blender for about a year now, and yeah, I've taught myself through YouTube and such, and I'm living it. I've been following Kaizen for a little while. I love his videos, and joined his Discord a few months ago as well. I've been fairly active in it since. And I just, as soon as I started, he had started doing monthly challenges. I participated in the first one, and everyone since it's been great. The community is very nice, and even if you don't try to win, it's just a good way to improve your skills and to just get good feedback from someone like Kaizen, who's quite experienced. Yeah, I mean, of course, I was really happy when I found out that I'd gotten third place. This isn't the first one of his monthly challenges that I've gotten top 3. Also won his first monthly challenge, and yeah, it's great. You get some really, really good feedback. Prizes are great, so yeah, it's fun. I did this space guy floating in space, and he's like around this corridor, burning corridor, and there's an explosion coming through behind him. Out of that explosion, there's this big like robot. And you can see there's like shattered glass and rubber and debris everywhere, and it's quite a chaotic, intense scene. And it's got very, very contrasting orange and blue hues to it. So yes, I think I mean AI is something that's on everyone's minds now, with like ChatGPT, and it's kind of scary future. So I thought it was just something that'd be nice to include into a render like this. And something that having the first character in the render is quite, you have to stick to that pose that was in the starter file, so it's hard to make that character appear to be doing anything, hard to have any action with that character. And I also like to have kind of action in my scenes, so I knew I wanted to add a second character, maybe like an alien or like a pet. And because I had such short time, often the easiest characters to add are robots, because you don't have to mess around with getting nice looking organic shaders. You don't risk falling into the kind of uncanny valley. It's all hard surface stuff, and it's easy to do. And it's also just quite easy to have this huge, intimidating robot coming out of the fire. Having like a organic thing coming out of the fire can be a little bit unrealistic, although it might look cool. Whereas having this huge steel robot come out, that you can imagine. I think it just, given current events, I think it's something that works quite well. So I think the most time for me is actually midway through the render, when you've got the basic idea but you're not quite sure about the details. So like, I got in and I very quickly got my astronaut model in, and started putting some assets and rubber around. But then there's like this point where, like, in the back of the scene and in the foreground in particular, it's quite empty, and I'm just not really sure what to put there. The best thing I do is I just drag and drop assets in from my asset library, put some random cubes around, and just see what maybe inspires me. But it's not very efficient, and I think about an hour of my time was spent just trying to figure out what would work in the foreground, and like the position I should put the robot in, and such, just like small things like that. Other thing that can be quite time consuming, I think for a lot of people, is lighting. So I knew I wanted to have this kind of like big contrast between orange and from the fire, and blue from the astronaut. But then getting the robot to fit in there was quite hard, because I mean, my initial thought was, okay, maybe the robot should be like a deep red to show that it's the enemy. But then that, of course, wouldn't work too well with all this orange fire. In the end, I started with the same color as the astronaut, and I thought it worked quite well, even though it's not meant to be a friendly robot. So the hardest thing is getting all that detail and modeling all these assets. Fire is the way that I got around that. To have a really nice scene, obviously you want to have all these details, and you want to have this story that works. So maybe for me that might have been like a smashed circuit boards or computers showing error messages. But that would have taken a lot of time for me to make and texture. So instead, I just decided to just cover the entire scene with fire. If you have a good fire simulation, it can be a really easy way to just add lots of like almost fake detail. Because I mean, it still looks nice, especially if as long as the fire fits your scene. But you then save and having to model all these like the walls and all these computers and even lighting to an extent. I had very few lights in my final scene, because the fire does most of that lighting for you. So yeah, the way I got around intricate detail and such was just set everything on fire. I used Midjourney for some ideas. So when I first started, I used Midjourney. I described the kind of scene I had in mind with like this astronaut floating there, and like this robot coming out the back of fire, and it gave some really cool like obviously AI renders to that I used as inspiration, and it also didn't take elements directly from them. But I think they're really cool for inspiration, especially when I got stuck later on where what to put in the foreground and background. It's really good just to look at those to see what the AI did right, and what made this AI photo good. Again with texturing, adding like grunge to the robot is really easy with Midjourney, because Midjourney has a tile feature which lets you create tileable textures. So by just asking Midjourney for a grunge or a dirt texture and making it tile it, I could get a really nice texture I could apply on top of the entire robot to get all sorts of imperfections and add more detail very quickly. I think the biggest breakthrough was when I actually realized the power of Blender's sci-fi panel generator. Also when I decided to put fire more up close to the camera rather than just this explosion in the distance. Blender has this inbuilt add-on called I think it's Ant. That's what Ant terrain generator, and this has an inbuilt sci-fi panel and sci-fi agreeable option. It's very basic, but by just creating these and adjusting the seed, just in the parameters, you can get really quick sci-fi like looking panels that you can just slap on all the walls of the corridor and really speed the process. This meant that within the first half hour of making the scene, I was able to just cover all the walls in something, so there's no just bare wall from the start to far left. And this is where those in my render where those cables at the bottom and those grills come from. And the second biggest advancement I think in the creation of it was the decision to put a fire in the foreground as well. The initial idea just involved the background and like middle ground being covered in fire, so having this explosion coming in from the back that the robot's emerging out of. But then the problem there is I then got to add detail to the foreground. It would have just taken me too much time. So when I came to the decision to just add some rubble and set the rubble on fire, I think that really saved me like what could have been hours work. I really just carried the scene. Also helped create that contrast better between the blue astronaut and the orange fire. I think a contrast is something that's really important in something like this. That's why I keep coming back to it. Yeah, I think there are some areas in real life that I definitely take into my work. A lot of the grunge I use in my work is actually just taken from real life. So if I'm creating like a more dark kind of grimy kind of scene, and then what I'll actually do sometimes is I'll just go and find some dirty concrete near me. So just go for a walk and just see under a bridge there might be some dirty concrete, and just take a photo on my phone and just take that into Blender and just overlay it over whatever it is I want there to be grunge, and it very quickly adds like fakeish kind of detail, but still good looking detail to the scene. It makes it look realistic because it's detail taken from a real photo, so it doesn't look like it's like generated, and it just looks very realistic. Again, nature is another thing that I often take into my art. So when I'm not creating these destructive kind of scenes, I enjoy creating like forests, and like really nice lighting in these like oak or these aspen forests. And again, just going for a walk and just being around nature before you make those is really nice, because I think in particular now someone that I've been looking at a lot, it's called Max Hay. He has a YouTube channel, and like in Instagram and ArtStation, and he has like hundreds of artworks on there that are just really good for inspiration, and he breaks down a lot of them in his YouTube tutorials and just shows how it's actually really easy to get these good looking artworks. So he's definitely one of my favorites right now. Ian Hubert, again, I think a lot of people have heard of him. His lazy tutorial series is quite good again for getting good looking renders quick. and just showing that it doesn't take like a month to get this good looking scene, and how you don't have to spend years on like a short film. You can just create good looking things in a few hours. So I think they're both definitely big inspirations.